Welcome to today's episode of Backstage with Randy Phillips. That's me. I'm excited about going backstage with the legendary Mac Powell. Oh, Mac. He's awesome. But before we jump into that interview, I want to hear from you. And I want to answer your questions. What do you want to know about? Music, songwriting, ministry, leadership, family, you name it. I'll answer your questions on the podcast or social media channels. Just email us, podcast at life.family. I can't wait to hear from you. If you don't already know, Mac has been part of one of the most successful contemporary Christian groups of all time, Third Day, before heading off to his solo career. You'll hear from him today some of the fun stories from the road, how the pandemic has impacted his music, and even how he got his start. His music has impacted my life for decades, and he is truly thought of as one of the most genuine and authentic artists of our times. I can't wait for you to hear what he has to say. Let's go. I'm backstage with the incredible, incomparable Mac Powell.
You said in, and I was waiting for what the word was going to be.
The amazing Mac Powell. I love you. I've always loved you. Your voice is soundtrack of my soul.
Well, thank you. You grew up listening to me, didn't you?
Well, as a little bitty boy.
Yeah. You said one day I want to sound like Mac Powell.
Actually, our careers kind of paralleled. Early 90s?
Yeah. Our first record came out with Third Day. For listeners and viewers that don't know, I was in a band called Third Day for 25 years. Well, I don't assume, but I was with them. Our first, we kind of started around 92-ish.
Yeah.
And we were a 5-year overnight success. And our first record came out in 96, and things just kind of grew and grew from there.
Man. Your vocal. You just got off the stage. You were here in Austin, Texas. You just walked off the stage, sat right behind that mic.
Yeah.
When you come off the stage, what's that feeling like for you when you have 2,000 people
Well,
singing?
you know what it's like. Well, you tell me.
Tell me, does that like...
It's great, especially, and I'm not just trying to build up Texas, but I love playing here. You know, people are great and always have a great time in Texas. And, you know, of course, had some great barbecue today, and that helps. It kind of makes me not sing as high as I should.
Sounded good to me.
Well, I appreciate it. I was a little struggling. That barbecue's still on the gut, but it was
brisket,
the brisket
or sausage or what?
All the above. I had brisket. I had jalapeno sausage. I had pork. I had turkey. All the above.
The jalapeno sausage doesn't bode well when you're on a bus.
That's right. It's short drives between each.
Because if I don't know if if the buses are newer, but you can't do.
Yeah, only number one on the bus is what we say. Yeah, is that clean? Can we do that?
Yeah, you can. So where does you just tell him pull over, or next time you come to something?
Yeah, whatever it takes. I'm not going to let you know all the secrets, Randy.
Well, I was just standing in the back of the room, this big concert you did in Austin, listening to your vocal. It so many memories flood my heart.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You are so good, so accomplished. What a great writer. What a great singer. Who were your early influences?
Well, my parents, first of all, they both played music.
Really?
Both my parents played guitar and sang, nothing professionally, but just around the house.
Is that right?
And so I was always around music, grew up singing in church and choir. You know, it was very different. Yep. You know what I'm talking about. It was very different. Wasn't modern worship. It was like old Aunt Edna on the piano and about 12 people in the choir. And I went to Providence Baptist Church number 2 in Clanton, Alabama. And it was packed out at 100 people at Easter and Christmas, you know. So, but I learned a lot about music, and but I learned a lot from listening. I said this tonight on stage, listening to my dad's record collection. There was a lot of great singer-songwriter stuff like Elton John and James Taylor. And
wait a minute. Your dad was listening to that?
Oh yeah, my dad was a rocker. He was a long-haired hippie until he got drafted to go to Vietnam. He didn't. Thankfully, he didn't have to go, but he got drafted. He was in the Army, and then boom, all of a sudden, that long-haired hippie has got a shaved head, and yeah, but he loved Creedence Clearwater Revival. I mean, that was big. His favorite band still to this day. So many great artists. Of course, I loved Southern rock like Leonard Skinner and Allman Brothers, but I loved a lot of stuff in the 80s. So many great country singers like Ronnie Millsap and Kenny Rogers, and I mean, just and of course Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash. All of those were influences, and I loved pop music too when I was a kid. I loved Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie and all these great pop songwriters and singers. So it kind of runs the gambit as far as the music that influenced me.
The pandemic, how did that impact you? The isolation and the no audience and this thing that you're called to do.
Yeah, it was, I think it affected, all of us in different ways, and to not be able to go out and to do what you feel like you're called to do was hard. I knew that there would be a season that would happen again, or at least I hoped there'd be a season where we'd come out and do concerts again and be in front of people and celebrate and worship with people. But to not be, to have that for over 25 years and then all of a sudden not be able to do it was pretty hard. But at the same time, the Lord taught me patience, or a little bit more patience, and taught me to just a little bit more trust in Him and knowing that He's in control. And, there's been so much loss through the pandemic. There's for us as musicians, not only that loss of not being able to gather together with people, but you also lose your job, your way to support your family. And so those things kind of kept adding up, but I just kept turning to the Lord, and He taught me through this season of the pandemic, and even now, about how powerful prayer is, and just needing to seek the Lord every day in prayer. And my prayer life has grown so much through the past 2 years because of the pandemic.
Well, have you lost vocal range? Because I can't tell you've lost any range at all.
I haven't. The good news is I haven't lost any vocal range. The bad news is because I never really had much vocal range in the first place. I always say it's very humbling to be on a tour with Danny Gokey and Michael Tate. Gokey. Yeah, it's humbling being on tour with Danny Gokey, who just can do everything vocally. It's funny. We were talking at meet and greet, and he's telling me nice things about my voice, and I'm telling it. I said, man, I was out for your sound check, and I literally was just giggling, going, "This is stupid.
I know.
You shouldn't be able to do that."
No.
And then of course Michael Tate, just an amazing voice, and so. It's funny, I'm not trying to name drop, but I was with our good friend Stephen Curtis Chapman at the national championship game, college football game.
Yes.
And we were sitting beside each other.
Were you rooting for the same team?
We were rooting for the same team, yeah.
So that would be?
Alabama. I'm from Alabama originally, so I'm an Alabama fan.
Okay. Yeah. That didn't go well for you?
It didn't go well. But you know what? Well, you can't win them all, just most of them.
Oh, Lord knows he's done his share.
Yeah. So
poor
we're at
Texas. I'm at University of Texas.
Yeah. I'm sorry about
like a 15-year drought.
Yeah.
But we did get one of his Mr. Saban's coaches.
Yes, maybe. Sark. Yeah.
So you're at the game.
We're at the game, and I put my foot in my mouth because I was saying, "What are you doing in the spring? Who are you taking out with you?" And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going out with the Newsboys, and Danny Gokey's opening as well." And I said, "Man, I think this might be the first." I was kind of joking, but I said, "This will be the first tour where I'm the worst singer on the tour." And then later on, I went, "I've been on tour with him 3 or 4 times."
I love it. Well,
I wondered why he looked at me funny.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he told me about that.
Yeah. I texted him later on, and Mary Beth, his wife, I texted them later on and said, "I totally put my foot in my mouth. I did not mean that." And what I said, and she just wrote this long, really nice text back and going, "Don't even think anything about it." And he never responded.
He did. Well, he's going to be here for too long. I'll ask him.
Please put in a good word for me.
If there's a root of bitterness.
Yes. Maybe pray with him.
Is there a song right now that kind of lights your eyes up, like when you sing it or when you hear it?
Yeah. Well, of mine or somebody else's?
Anything.
Well, I tell you, there's a mainstream artist, a guy from Georgia named Brent Cobb. And probably most people who are listening to this have never heard of him. He's not a big artist. He's a country artist, but it's just not really country radio. And he's just got this really cool, it's almost like almost like a Willie Nelson kind of vibe to him. But he just made a gospel record. He made a record of all these old school hymns that he grew up singing in church. And it's amazing. And so I've probably listened to it 5 or 6 times since it came out last week. So I don't know much about him and his personal life. No.
He don't know you're listening to his music.
I doubt it.
Somebody ought to tell him.
Well, maybe.
The great vocalist of our time is listening to your song.
Well, I'm humbled, and hearing his record, I kind of feel like when my record grows up, it wants to be his record.
Okay, Mac Powell, just quick hits. Tacos or hot dogs?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Do I have to give? I'll give an explanation. Hot dogs, if I'm at a baseball game, I have to have a hot dog. I can't go to a baseball game without eating a hot dog. And taco, but I would pick tacos any other time.
Okay. Plain M&Ms or peanut?
Peanut, yeah. I'm a big peanut and peanut butter fan.
Because you're from Georgia.
I'm from Georgia. You got to support the economy.
Boxers or briefs?
I'm gonna just skip that one.
Okay, so you don't eat neither one.
No. Where are we going with this?
I don't know.
I'll say both. Whatever it takes.
I asked Danny Goki the same thing. He said boxers, and I don't understand that. I don't think that's right.
I was a boxer guy for my whole adult life, and then recently I went boxer brief, so it's kind of in the middle.
So it's a hybrid.
Yeah.
I don't think that's proper for a man.
Yeah,
the boxers.
Well, I figured a guy from Texas would say that.
The Bible's clear on that.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's ambiguous on some things, but it's clear on that.
Yeah,
It talks about a man ought to have
first opinions. Yeah.
Gird up his loins, and there's no girding. Okay.
You know what? I never thought about that. I'm going to repent.
Okay.
Pastor.
Are you Cowboys or Titans?
You know what? I'm neither. I'm from Atlanta, so yeah. But I do like the Titans because they've got Derrick Henry, who was an Alabama player, but y'all have Amari Cooper. I assume he's still with the.
He is.
I don't keep up with NFL. Amari Cooper is a Cowboy, so.
Okay.
Can anybody confirm that? He is okay, and he played for Alabama. So.
What is your favorite part of a concert, which I just saw you do, phenomenal, the opening song or the last song?
Ooh, I think it's the last song.
Why?
Because I'm still a little nervous when the first one's going. I'm like, once I get this one under my belt, we'll be all right. We can work our way into it. But I think the last one.
Have you ever had a moment where you just completely forgot the words to your own song?
Every single night. It literally.
Is this why you throw it to the audience and say, sing it, let me hear you?
Sing it.
I don't
remember it. Yeah. I made a joke tonight, but it's funny because it's true. I said, I'm doing my brand new single is coming out in April. It's called New Creation.
It was great. I loved it.
Thank you. My new record's called New Creation, and so the title track is New Creation. And I said that, I get scared to death singing a new song because I'm afraid I'm going to forget the words, but y'all don't know the words anyway. It's a new song, so.
I love the song.
Thank you.
I really did. I've been traveling with these 2 other knuckleheads for a while.
I know.
And Dan, the lead singer, Dan Dean, he can't remember the words to nothing. And so every night the song is fresh. People say, how do you keep singing these songs? How do they stay fresh? Because every night.
The words are different.
The words are different. People look so puzzled too.
Man, I tell you what, I lead worship at a church as of about 1.5 years now in Atlanta called Church of the Apostles. Dr. Michael Youssef, amazing pastor. And they have a big old screen with the words for me to look at when I'm singing worship songs. And if that screen ever goes out,
you're in trouble.
I'm in big time trouble. You'll hear a lot of, sing it.
You sing it. Come louder.
Right.
Have you ever had the fan that sits on the front row and right on the front or first few rows and holds their ears?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
That's disconcerting.
Well, yeah, it doesn't bother me that much because it gets kind of loud. If I was on the first couple rows, I'd probably hold my ears too.
Well, why don't you go? Couldn't they go to the back or something?
They could, yeah. That's probably,
I want to sit on the front.
But by golly, she paid good money for them seats. She's going to be up there. Right. I went to a show, see some friends play at a little club in Atlanta a few weeks ago, and I sat down. As soon as the opening band started, I got my little napkin rolled up. I don't care if I look like an old man. Oh, of course. I got to protect those ears.
Absolutely.
And what's funny, I don't know if you do this, but on stage, there's a difference of me being on stage and then me going to a concert. If I'm on stage, I'm like, get up out of your seat, put your hands together. If I'm in the concert, I'm like, I'm sitting right here and I paid $50 for this ticket. You put your hands together.
You put your hands together. I love that. I think I'm probably the same way.
Yeah.
I was singing at yours, though. I was singing loud.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I
would have called you out if you weren't.
Fella turned around and said, listen, I paid good money to hear him, Mac Powell, sing. You calm down. Okay. Man, there's just something about when you sing God of Wonders. Mm-hmm. Does that ever get old for you? Like,
it does.
To hear those people singing that song.
And that's why it doesn't get old. Whenever I see somebody singing along, it's especially a big group of people and they're worshiping the Lord. I don't know if I can say the words, that's why we do this, but that's a big reason. It's one of the reasons why we do this. And it's very humbling. That song, interesting enough, I wasn't, a lot of people think that I wrote the song. I didn't. I wasn't supposed to be on it. It was part of a worship project that two guys were putting together with a bunch of different artists. And they sent us that song, God of Wonders, and said, we'd love for Third Day to record this. What do you think? And I heard it and I went, nah, it's all right. I said, I got a better idea. And it was not a better idea. We went in the studio, recorded it. My manager at the time said, hey, they're going to try to, after you're done, they're going to try to get you to sing on another song. Don't do it. Just get out of there. You got too many songs already on the radio. You got, we just get out of there. And I'm like, great. So we went in and I was a big fan of the producers and writers of the song. They had been in a band that I listened to for quite a few years. And so I went in, we did our song that we wrote. I'm walking out and Steve Hindalong, who's the producer and writer, said, hey, will you jump on the second verse of this other song? And I went, absolutely, yes, I will. It's better to, that was one of those better to ask, get forgiveness and permission from my manager. So I wasn't supposed to be on that song. And it turned out great.
Did it ever? My goodness. Do you kind of run when I've been out on tours, I run this sort of the tension between enjoying the calling that I have on the stage and that nagging feeling of you need to be home. Mm-hmm. You need to be somewhere else. Right. And then when I'm home, I have this nagging voice saying, you need to be home. So that tension, do you ever feel that?
Absolutely, all the time. And I think it's a good thing. I think even though it can be frustrating when you're going through that, I think it's good to have, that thing that's drawing us back home, but at the same time, knowing that the Lord has created us for a purpose and a reason. And part of that's to take care of our family at home. And part of it is to go out and do what we can to share what the Lord's given us. And for us, fortunately, we also get to support our families doing it. So there is that struggle. My wife, every day, I love you, I miss you, I wish you could come home. And then I come home, we have some time off for about 2 weeks, and then she's like, ain't you got somewhere else to go?
Yeah, during the pandemic, my wife said, well, isn't there a concert?
Right.
Somewhere, surely somebody will have you.
Right.
The prices our wives pay is enormous.
I couldn't do this without her support and without her being super mama at home. I couldn't.
They're incredible.
Yeah, I have 5 kids and
5.
Yeah, 5, and that's why I'm on the road all the time.
Yes, it is. What are their names?
My oldest is Scout.
Scout.
She's 22, about to graduate from Liberty University.
Really?
Yeah. Cash is my son who's 19, and he was on stage tonight. The guy with the cowboy hat's my son.
No way. That was your boy?
Yeah. So tonight's his second night ever playing.
I love that.
Yeah. And then my third one is Cammie Love. She's at Liberty University as well. And then Emmanuel, who he adopted when he was a month old. He's 13 now, and just a little Mac Jr. and little mini me. And then Birdie Claire. Birdie Claire is 12 and going on 25.
Yeah.
She's a pistol. She really is. I don't know if y'all have that term in Texas, but she's a pistol.
Yes, we know exactly
her,
what that
her
means.
brother Cash, who was on stage with me tonight, we were talking about her yesterday, and he said, she's a rascal. I'm like, she is a rascal. That's a good word for her.
I love that. Mac Powell, thank you for the body of work that you have labored long for. Thank you for your legacy. Thank you for being the soundtrack of my soul.
Pastor Randy, thank you.
I love you. I hope you keep doing this forever.
I hope as long as people keep listening, I'm going to keep singing it. Me and Tate were talking today, Michael Tate, who sings with the Newsboys, we were talking about how long we've been doing this and just thankful to be here.
I know it.
And I said, Michael, there's nothing else I know how to do. So that's what I'm going to be doing, God willing.
Yeah. Well, I love you.
Love you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
To find more information on Mac Powell, visit macpowell.com. That's MacPowell.com. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. We'll see you next episode.